Welcome to Fast Effect Double Speed Magic the Gathering. Here we have, I believe, Breanimator from John versus Jovan on Death and Taxes. And this is actually a brutally difficult matchup for Breanimator, which is not intuitive at all. You would think that this Blazing Fast combo deck would just steamroll anything not running Force of Will, but the reality is many of these games will go beyond the first turn, and as the game goes on longer, Death and Taxes has just an incredible amount of answers. However, this may be one of the exceptions. I would suspect this is probably an 80-20 matchup, but we've got a first turn Gristlebrand, and that could actually do it. Now, John is running a little bit of a Tin Fins package in his Black-Red Reanimator build, so he does have the possibility of a Sire of Insanity to make your opponent discard their entire hand as early as turn 1, but also the ability to draw a ton of cards, get a Children of Corliss into play, regain all of that life that you've spent to draw cards, and then spend it again, and then get Children back, and then draw the remainder of your deck, and then ultimately play all your Lotus Petals, Dark Rituals, Unmasks, and whatever other spells you choose, and then finish with a Tendrils of Agony, gaining back even more life. So lots of life gain in both decks, I suppose. On the other side of the table, Death and Taxes does have Batterskull, a card that creates some inevitability. Once it starts connecting, you can get outside of range of a large amount of strategies within the format. So for Death and Taxes, the cards to look out for here are going to be, in the main deck, are going to be Karakas, Swords to Plowshares, Sanctum Prelate, Thalia, of course, Mother of Runes, along with the flyer like Flicker Wisp. The new Skyclave Apparition can get rid of a Animate Dead, for example. There's really not a lot of blanks. Phyrexian Revoker can stop Gristlebrand from activating. There's a lot of interaction. Stoneforge actually one of the worst cards in the matchup, which is pretty crazy, but that'll set a very serious clock with Batterskull, again, potentially outpacing damage from the other side of the board, depending on what creatures John is able to land. For example, a Chancellor of the Annex, which is a common threat in this matchup. It is actually ran as a 4 of, so Chancellor of the Annex doesn't really stack up particularly well versus a Batterskull, as if you're swinging for 5 and they're gaining 4 back. Speaking of Chancellor, John actually has one to slow things down. We'll see if Jovan plays something directly into it. Now, if he's running Fairy Macabre, playing a Mother of Runes, it is countered, meaning that he almost certainly has either a turn 2 play that's really important, or a Surgical Extraction would be my guess. The option playing against the Chancellor is also just to wait until turn 2 and then cast your 1-drop and pay the 1, setting you back a full turn. So Jovan playing as defensively as possible, I suppose, keeping that what would likely be Surgical Extraction live. Oh, and we've got to Reanimate. And he does, in fact, have the Surgical. So Reanimate's going to be able to counter on Resolution. Sorry, Surgical's going to be able to counter on Resolution this Reanimate. Unfortunately, probably just one Sire of Insanity. It's usually just a 1 of something you can entomb if it's really good on that first turn. Otherwise, you're often just going to be happier with Gristlebrand. So Surgical. Stopping the complete discard. I've actually seen Death and Taxes win from there pretty frequently. Like they have Swords to Plowshares in the deck that they just like top deck and get out of the situation. It's truly disheartening. Thalia has landed. That is going to make it much tougher for John to do any of the things that he wants to be doing. Tendrils of Agony in hand is absolutely terrible. That is not where that card belongs at any point. Now there's a Faithless Looting in the bin, which may be able to be flashed back later. 3 mana for a 3/3 Chancellor of the Annex coming back. And that's about as underwhelming as it gets. A 4-6 flyer here. And it is winning the race, but it won't take much for Jovan to actually get into the lead. Skyclave Apparition can handle that Animate Dead. Flicker Wisp can potentially stand in the way of it indefinitely if a Mother of Runes gets involved. Yeah, 4 damage out of clip. I mean, it is winning the race. There is that. This is the type of situation where Batterskull will just totally undermine the other side of the board. So while John is currently winning, gotta say it feels like the Grafdigger's Cage? Yeah, 3 mana for a Grafdigger's Cage. Thalia making that cost more, and John end-stepping a Wear or Tear. Yeah, the Tear side. Another land. John may be contemplating hard-casting Gristlebrand here. I don't know if he actually runs enough lands in the deck to do it. Or fetchable lands, I should say. Thalia continues this kind of slower erosion of John's life total. And Flicker Wisp. And a Mother of Runes. So Animate Dead enters. And that actually could have been a bit of a problem. If John had like an Entomb, but mercifully he's playing with his hand up. Jovan knows exactly what he has. No mystery there. Just a Tendrils of Agony. And Mother of Runes and Flicker Wisp. As I talked about previously, Death and Taxes just has a way of finding its way into these unfortunate answers to things. Actually, Jovan just choosing to race Spirit of the Labyrinth. Jovan feeling like there's no real danger. There's Tendrils of Agony. Hopefully he's accounting for that as well. That'll be a 2-point life swing. Or a 4-point life swing. 2 points away from Jovan while John gains 2 life. So 4 points in total. And, you know, something like a Dark Ritual would actually increase the storm. Oh no! No, is that actually enough? Jovan scooping it up to the Tendrils, just wasn't thinking about it being cast. Yeah, just that 2 life from the Surgical Extraction along with 4 swings from that Chancellor. And it looks like Jovan needed to pump the brakes and just block with that Flicker Wisp and kind of drag things out a little bit more. Thought he was going to win the race, but he got. That is all for this one, but don't worry, there is a lot more. You can check out our older videos, and we're always putting out new videos from ELD's Time Vault Games in Bellingham, Massachusetts. If you want to help the channel, of course, you can like, subscribe, share, tap that notification bell so you can know the next time our new videos come out. Thanks for watching.